Captain Serena Takara pressed her palm against the cool surface of the observation deck's viewport, watching the stars drift by in their eternal dance. The Valorum, an Algarian reconnaissance vessel, cut silently through the void at the edge of the outer galaxy. As the ship's science officer, Serena, had spent countless cycles studying the mysteries of space, but nothing had prepared her for what they were about to encounter. Captain Takara to the command deck, came the voice through the ship's communication system. Priority 1 transmission from Algarian Command. Serena made her way through the narrow corridors of the Valorum, passing crew members, who nodded respectfully as she passed. The ship was a marvel of Algarian engineering, equipped with the most advanced sensors and scanning equipment their Class II civilization could produce. Or so they had believed. On the command deck, Major Malik stood rigid beside the central holographic display. His six-fingered hands danced across the control interface as data streams cascaded in translucent blue columns around them. "What's the situation, Major?" Serena asked, taking her position at the science station. "Intelligence has detected an Earth warship in the Solaris sector." Malik replied, his voice carrying the weight of concern. "The vessel goes by the designation Aegis of Terra. Command wants us to conduct a comprehensive scan and tactical assessment." Serena's elongated fingers flew over her console, pulling up the preliminary intelligence reports. According to these files, Earth was classified as a Class II civilization, similar to our own capabilities. What makes this warranting a priority reconnaissance? Lieutenant Colonel von Gehrig stepped forward from the tactical station, his military decorations glinting under the bridge's artificial lighting. "Because Captain Takara, recent intelligence suggests Earth may have been significantly underestimated. Command wants to know exactly what we're dealing with." The Valorum adjusted course, its quantum drives humming with barely contained energy. As they approached the designated coordinates, the bridge crew worked in focused silence. Lieutenant Leon, the sensor technician, hunched over her station, fine-tuning the ship's scanning arrays. "Contact established," Leon announced. "I'm reading a massive energy signature approximately 2,000 kilometers ahead." "On screen," Malik ordered. The main view screen shimmered and resolved into an image that made every crew member fall silent. The Aegis of Terra floated before them like a sleeping giant, its hull spanning over 15 kilometers in length. Dark metal gleamed with an almost organic sheen, and strange geometric patterns ran along its surface like veins of light. "Sweet ancestors," whispered one of the bridge officers. Serena's scientific training kicked in, suppressing her awe, as she began initial sensor sweeps. "Beginning comprehensive scan. Lieutenant Leon, I want full spectral analysis on those hull markings." "Aye, Captain, initiating deep scan protocols." The Valorum sensors reached out like invisible fingers, probing the massive Earth vessel. Serena watched her displays with growing confusion, then alarm. The readings didn't make sense. "Major Malik," she called out, her voice tight with concern. "I'm getting Class 4 energy readings from their power core. That's impossible according to our intelligence files." Von Gehrig moved to stand behind her station. "Run the scan again. There must be an error." "I've run it 3 times. The readings are consistent." Serena's hands trembled slightly as she pulled up the energy signature analysis. "Whatever's powering that ship, it's generating energy levels that should theoretically require technology far beyond what Earth was supposed to possess." "Could it be a new Alliance vessel?" Malik asked. "Perhaps they've received technological assistance from another species." Before Serena could respond, Lieutenant Leon's voice cut through the bridge. "Captain, we're being scanned. The Earth vessel has activated some kind of high-frequency radar system." Every alarm on the bridge began screaming at once. Serena watched in horror as their own ship's stealth system's pride of Algarian technology simply dissolved. Layer after layer of their technological camouflage was stripped away like tissue paper in a firestorm. "They've penetrated our stealth matrix," Leon reported, panic creeping into her voice. "All of it. They can see everything." Serena's fingers flew over her console desperately, trying to understand what was happening. Her analysis programs worked frantically processing the data from their scan of the Aegis. When the results appeared on her screen, she felt the blood drain from her face. "Major, we need to leave now." Von Gehrig stepped closer, his pride wounded. "We're here on a reconnaissance mission, Captain. We need more tactical data before—" "Look at these readings." Serena turned her screen toward him. "The hull armor alone is generating an energy field equivalent to a small planet's magnetosphere. Those aren't weapon ports we're seeing, they're reality distortion matrices. The torpedo bays are using photonic warfare systems that can bend space-time." She pulled up another display, her voice rising with each revelation. "And these aren't railguns, Colonel. These are dimensional breach weapons. They don't just fire projectiles through space, they fire them through reality itself." The bridge fell silent, except for the humming of the ship's systems and the increasingly urgent warnings from their tactical computers. Malik's voice was barely a whisper. "What are the threat assessment protocols saying?" Serena looked at her display where a single word pulsed in ominous red letters: "Impossible." "The computer can't calculate odds of survival, Major. Our tactical systems don't have a classification high enough for what we're looking at." Lieutenant Leon suddenly straightened at her station. "Captain, I'm detecting some kind of quantum illusion field around the Earth vessel. It's like they're not entirely here. Parts of the ship exist in parallel dimensions." Serena realized the horrible truth. They're not just advanced. They're using quantum camouflage technology. The ship we're seeing might only be a fraction of what's actually there. The Aegis of Terra remained motionless in space, but data continued to flood the Valorum sensors. Energy readings that defied physics weapon systems, that shouldn't exist defensive capabilities, that turned the concept of warfare on its head. Captain Von Gehrig said, his military training warring with his growing fear, "If we could just gather more detailed scans of their weapon systems. Colonel, with respect, if we stay here any longer, we won't live to deliver whatever data we collect." Serena turned to Malik. "Major, I recommend immediate withdrawal." Before Malik could respond, the tactical systems lit up with new contacts. 3 smaller vessels had detached from the Aegis, moving with impossible speed and precision. "Earth fighters incoming," Leon reported. Major, their approach vectors don't follow standard physics. They're taking shortcuts through space." Serena watched the tactical display in fascination and terror. The Earth fighters weren't just fast. They were cutting through the fabric of space itself, arriving at positions they shouldn't have been able to reach in the time allotted. "That does it," Malik declared. "All hands prepare for emergency jump. Helm, plot a course out of the system." "Sir," the helmsman responded. "They've somehow locked onto our navigation systems. I can't establish a clean exit vector." Serena's mind raced. She pulled up the scans they'd made of the Aegis, searching for any weakness, any tactical advantage. Instead, she found something far worse. "Major, those aren't just fighters. They're reconnaissance drones, highly advanced ones. They're not here to attack us, they're studying us, just like we were studying them." The implication hung heavy in the air. Earth wasn't just defending itself. It was learning everything it could about Algarian technology in real time. "Navigation, find us a way out," Malik ordered. "Head for the asteroid field at coordinates 77 Mark IV. We'll use the interference to break their lock." The Valorum's engines roared to life, pushing the ship toward a nearby asteroid cluster. Behind them, the Earth fighters followed at a leisurely pace, as if they were herding rather than pursuing. As they wove between the massive rocks, Serena continued her analysis of the limited data they'd gathered. Each revelation was more disturbing than the last. "Major, I think I understand why Earth was classified as Class 2, she said during a brief moment of relative calm. "They wanted us to think they were Class 2. Everything we've been seeing might be carefully constructed to reveal their true capabilities, only when absolutely necessary." Von Gehrig, who had been monitoring their pursuit, looked up sharply. "You're saying they've been deliberately hiding their technology level?" "Not hiding, misdirecting. Their entire defensive strategy might be based on being underestimated." Serena pulled up comparative energy readings. A Class 2 civilization would see their ship and think it was manageable. By the time they realized their mistake, it would be too late. Like walking into a trap disguised as a gift, Malik murmured. They managed to lose the Earth fighters in the asteroid field, but Serena knew it was only because the drones had learned what they came to learn. As the Valorum cleared the asteroids and jumped to hyperspace, she compiled their findings into a comprehensive report. Days later, as they approached Algarian space, Serena stood once again at the observation deck's viewport. But now, the stars looked different, less friendly, full of hidden dangers. Malik joined her, holding a data pad. Command's response came in. They're calling an emergency council with our allied species. Good. Because if Earth decides to expand beyond their sector, our current military assessments are worthless. Serena touched the viewport again. We need new alliances, new strategies, everything. What do you think Earth will do now? Malik asked. Serena considered the question carefully. I think Earth knew exactly what would happen when they allowed us to scan them. They wanted us to know what they're capable of. The question is why. Von Gehrig approached from behind, looking humbled by their experience. Perhaps they're sending a message. Stay away, and we'll leave you alone. But threaten us. And they'll demonstrate just how outclassed we really are, Serena finished. As the Valorum approached their home system, Serena began drafting her final report. The Algarian alliance needed to know the truth. Earth wasn't just another species to be conquered or allied with. They were a force that redefined what was possible in terms of technological advancement and military capability. In her report, she recommended immediate diplomatic contact, mutual defense agreements with neighboring species, and above all, a complete reevaluation of humanity's place in the galactic hierarchy. Captain Takara, Malik called from the communication station. Long-range communications is detecting a transmission from Earth. It's in perfect Algarian dialect. Serena hurried to the communications array. On the screen appeared a human face, middle-aged with kind eyes, and an expression that somehow conveyed both strength and diplomacy. Greetings, Algarian vessel Valorum. I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Coalition. We're aware of your recent reconnaissance mission. We hope you found the information you gathered educational. Serena exchanged glances with Malik before responding. Admiral, I am Captain Serena Takara, Science Officer. We were operating under outdated intelligence regarding Earth's capabilities. Admiral Chen smiled slightly. Intelligence has a way of becoming outdated quickly, doesn't it, Captain Takara? We'd like to propose a meeting between our species. Not as potential adversaries, but as neighbors who might benefit from understanding each other better. Are you suggesting an alliance? Von Gehrig interjected. I'm suggesting conversation, Colonel. You see, Captain Takara's analysis was quite correct. Earth has been conservative in how we've presented ourselves to the galaxy, but recent developments have convinced us that a more open approach might be beneficial for everyone. Serena felt a chill run down her spine. What recent developments? Admiral Chen's expression grew serious. Let's just say that Earth isn't the only species that's been hiding their true capabilities, and some of the others aren't quite as interested in peaceful coexistence as we are. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge crew in stunned silence. Serena looked out at the stars again, realizing that everything they thought they knew about the galaxy had just changed. Set course for Algarian Prime, Malik ordered quietly. Maximum speed. As the Valorum jumped to hyperspace, Serena began composing a new report. One that would reshape not just Algarians' military strategy, but their understanding of their place in a universe far more complex and dangerous than they had ever imagined. The Aegis of Terra had been a revelation, but Admiral Chen's words suggested it was only the beginning. Earth had shown them a glimpse of their power, not as a threat, but as a warning. Other forces in the galaxy were moving forces that might not be as interested in diplomatic solutions. In her quarters that night, Serena reviewed the sensor data from the Aegis one more time. Hidden in the quantum signatures, she found something that chilled her to the bone. The ship hadn't been alone. There were other vessels visible only in brief quantum fluctuations vessels that made the Aegis look primitive by comparison. Earth hadn't just been hiding one ship. They'd been hiding an entire fleet. And if they were willing to reveal themselves now, it meant something was coming that even Earth, with all their impossible technology, might not be able to face alone. Serena closed her eyes and tried to sleep, but dreams of vast ships moving through dimensional portals kept her awake. The galaxy was about to change in ways none of them could predict. And it had all started with a simple reconnaissance mission that had revealed Earth to be anything but simple. The next morning brought new intel from Algarian Command. 3 more species had reported similar encounters with Earth vessels. Each time the ships had revealed capabilities far beyond what anyone had expected, then disappeared as quickly as they'd come. The pattern was clear. Earth was preparing for something big enough that they were willing to abandon centuries of careful misdirection and reveal their true strength to potential allies. As the Valorum approached Algarian Prime, Serena could see the massive defense platforms that protected their homeworld. Once, they had seemed like impressive examples of their technological achievement. Now, after seeing what Earth could build, they looked fragile as paper boats in a hurricane. The debriefing took place in the highest levels of Algarian Command, with representatives from their closest allied species attending via quantum communication links. Serena's report sent shockwaves through the assembled leadership. "You're certain about these readings?" asked Premier Delac of the Centauri Coalition. "I've triple-checked every scan, sir. The energy output alone suggests technology centuries ahead of our current capabilities." Admiral Cross of the Andorian Defense Force leaned forward. "And you believe this was intentional? That they wanted us to know?" "Yes, sir. The way they allowed us to scan them, the precision with which they revealed specific capabilities, it was calculated. They wanted to send a message." "But what message?" Premier Delac asked. Before Serena could answer, alarms began ringing throughout the command center. Intelligence Officer Torvak burst into the room, his face pale with fear. "Sirs, long-range sensors are detecting massive gravitic distortions at the edge of our galaxy. Something big is coming through dark space. Multiple contacts displacement equivalent to..." He paused, checking his readings again. "To entire star systems." Serena felt the pieces click into place. "The Devourers." Every being in the room turned to stare at her. The Devourers were legend myth, a race of beings from outside the galaxy that consumed entire civilizations, leaving nothing but dead space in their wake. "Captain Takara, explain," Admiral Cross demanded. "It's the only thing that makes sense. Earth didn't reveal their capabilities to threaten us. They revealed them because they need allies for what's coming. The Devourers are real, and they're here." The room erupted in overlapping conversations, fear and denial. But Serena barely heard them. She was thinking about Admiral Chen's words about the quantum shadows around the Aegis, about fleets hidden in dimensional space. Earth had been preparing for this for centuries. While other species had fought petty territorial wars, humanity had been building defenses against a threat most of the galaxy didn't even believe existed. "Sirs," she said, standing up. The room gradually fell silent. "I recommend we accept Admiral Chen's offer of dialogue. Whatever's coming, we're going to need every ally we can get. And right now, Earth might be the only force in the galaxy capable of standing against the Devourers." Premier Delac nodded slowly. "Make the arrangements, Admiral Cross. And Captain Takara, I want you to lead the diplomatic mission. You've had the most direct contact with Earth's capabilities." As the meeting dispersed into frantic planning sessions, Serena looked out through the command center's massive windows at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there, the Aegis of Terra waited with its impossible weapons and dimensional allies. And somewhere beyond that ancient nightmares from dark space were awakening hungry for the life and energy of an entire galaxy. The galaxy was about to learn what Earth had known all along: Sometimes the greatest threats come not from neighbors, but from the darkness between the stars. And sometimes, survival requires allies you never imagined possible. Earth's warship hadn't been a threat, it had been an invitation. An invitation to stand together against the night that was coming for them all. And as Serena prepared for humanity's first formal diplomatic contact with the Algarian alliance, she found herself both terrified and oddly hopeful. If any species could help them survive what was coming, it would be the one that had been preparing for this moment since before most galactic civilizations had even achieved spaceflight. The Aegis of Terra and its hidden fleet were just the beginning. Earth's true strength lay not in their technology, but in their understanding that no species could survive alone in a universe full of ancient dangers. The reconnaissance mission was over. The real war was about to begin. And for the first time since detecting that impossible energy signature, Serena Takara allowed herself to believe they might actually have a chance of winning.